So we've been saving money. We managed to buy ourselves some Blockley tyres. So here they are, and this is how they came. Nicely wrapped. We ordered them, and 2 days later they were delivered. Very quick and efficient. So this is the tyre. It's an 145/80 R14. Now the 145 is the width across there. The 80 is the aspect ratio, which is 80% of the width of the tyre, which is this bit here. And then the R14 is the rim diameter there. And that is the closest you'll get to the original, according to Blockley. And I think the other tyre which is close is the Pirelli Centeratis. So the other thing about the Blockleys is if you have a look at the tread pattern, is very close to the original classic tyre style tread pattern with the cross plies. And I just happen to have with me an original cross ply tyre from the 70s, which has got the original numbers on it. So it's 5.2 R14s, not R, sorry, 14, so which means 5.2 inch across there, which is a cross ply. And again, the rim diameter through there is 14. And this is an original Morris tyre, which would come with a Morris. And I got 4 of these in my workshop, but they're cross plies, so we're not going to use them. So what's the difference between a cross ply and a radial? Well, a cross ply, the beading that goes across from this edge to this edge is in a diagonal 45-degree angle cross like that, whereas on a radial, the bead runs across at a 90-degree angle like that. And what's the difference? So radials are much more flexible, they give you more foot on the road, and they give you a softer ride and more fuel efficiency. And cross plies are much more rigid and tough, and the sidewalls are not prone to being scraped to pieces by potholes. Downside is you can tramline and track across the road with cross plies because they're such more rigid tyres, and if the road conditions are poor, they'll just, they're not as good. So that's why they got rid of cross plies, and we use radials now because they're much safer. So let's get rid of that. So the most common tyre you'll see on the road is an economy tyre that we use normally is a Nankang, which is a 155 that way, R14 that way, and 80 that way. So what's the difference between the Nankang and the Blockley? Let's have a look. Well, for a start, the Blockley's taller than the Nankang, very slightly, but that is, and is much thinner because this is closer to the original Morris size, and the tread pattern is much more in line with a classic old style tread pattern, unlike the Nankang. Not only that, I've heard that Blockleys last a hell of a lot longer than Nankangs. The Nankangs are really a summer tyre and are quite soft, but what we found over the years is, although they're a good tyre and they're good at gripping on the road, is that they perish before they wear out. So we were changing them, and this is a new tyre which I wrecked. We're changing them every 18 months to 2 years, so they're just not lasting, so they're not actually value for money. So a Blockley comes in at about a set of 4 fitted will be just short of 400 quid, so you're looking at 350 to 400 pounds, whereas Nankangs are running around at 4 fitted about 300 pounds, so you're only saving about 80 quid. So there's not much of economy there if you're thinking about that. Blockley's probably going to last at least 5 years compared to a Nankang which will only last 2. And what you ever don't want to do is, if you just happen to have a spare in the boot and it happens to be a cross ply, is you shouldn't by law mix cross ply tyres and radial tyres together. So if you've got a spare and it happens to be cross ply, probably pay to think about changing it, because they're horrible things, although they don't bust on potholes.
Unless you're off-road.
Unless you're off-road or driving an agricultural vehicle, which they're perfect for at low speeds. So there we go, tyres.